So you just suggested one. Nailed it. It's a good job. Rick T. Dan Reed. Okay. Keep in mind that when I went through this, I was listening, I was doing accounting for my other business. So I was working with a lot of numbers. And I listened to so much that night. Dan Reed. Okay, after this was done, I said, that was nice. I didn't mind it. I thought I would, but it turns out I didn't. And I still am confused as to why I just let it play. Then you suggested Danielle DeAndrea, and you also said that you haven't had much luck recommending female vocalists to me. And you're right, you haven't. But every now and then you get lucky, and the same thing, I'm confused that I was able to leave this on for as long as I did. I just kept working and left it on, and somehow, if you're doing accounting, you can listen to Dan Reed and Danielle DeAndrea. Somehow those go together. Amber, you sent a link to the Deftones Knife Party video. Deftones were sort of an honorable mention on my Ds. Yes, of course, great. Love the Deftones. More bands. Wish there were more bands like this out. Scott H., you suggested Damien Gerardo, a three-piece from Seattle. I don't know if I said that right. Wasn't bad, but it didn't stick out, so it was fine. It passed the accounting test at the moment. And then, I didn't say it, but you suggested Death in Vegas, and Death in Vegas, I don't know how much I could go on about Death in Vegas and how much I love them, but you suggested, Scorpio Rising, and it had, the question that I asked was, did this come out before Kill Bill? Because if it did, then it was ahead of its time, because basically it was just chicks with swords in tight outfits that were just, I don't know what they were doing, killing each other. After this, I went and finally saw Hands Around My Throat video, which was interesting to say the least. That song is so good. Dan, Drunk Dial Dan from Paris, you actually called me. I'm going to figure out a way, I'm going to put your calls on, I should have recommended you. You know that? I should have posted an MP3 of one of your calls to me, and I'm just going to do that at some point. You suggested Dungeon, Swedish band, sort of a non-offensive psychedelic rock band, I think, they're Swedish. It reminded me of Sigur Rós, probably because I couldn't understand the lyrics. And what else? Oh, yeah, I left it on, and I did some accounting to it. Next band you recommended was Devachka. Devachka, we played with Devachka at the Troubadour. They're sort of in that Slavic folk, gypsy sort of Greek stew of music. I think they're very talented. Again, it's not what I listen to. I actually think, though, they do it better than Gogol Bordello, which I have just a problem just watching. Okay, that's all I have to say. Z, you suggested Duran Duran, and you know what? I am a sucker for 80s music sometimes, and what'd you say? What'd you do? I think you did Save a Prayer. Save a Prayer. I love John Taylor's bass lines. And then I went and watched another song, another Duran Duran song, Hungry Like a Wolf. His bass lines are great. I think he played an Ovation bass, actually. It's funny, though, because, he's playing bass, though, but he was playing guitar in the video, and then he was playing, like, a pan flute, and then I think everyone else was playing with elephants and Sri Lankan kids. I know one Sri Lankan, though. It's Marguerite, who's in a band called Slow Signal Fade. And what is her band? AM versus FM. Open for I Will Never Be the Same. Hi, Marguerite. Okay, and then you suggested, so Duran Duran was great. It was good. to go down the YouTube thing. Dream Academy, Life in a Northern Town. Fucking great song. Great song, and this is a little thing you might not be aware of, but so this trio sort of signaled the psychedelic revival movement in the UK. But the song was co-produced by David Gilmour from Pink Floyd, and it was actually an elegy to Nick Drake. Or for Nick Drake. So I think I watched that song 4 times in a row. Nick D, you mentioned a band called Detroit, which had a great cover to this record. And Mitch Ryder was in this band. Mitch Ryder, I know because I first heard of him because he did a Prince cover, and I don't remember the song. I know it was a Prince cover, and then I think Shaka Khan did it, I think. Oddly enough, he does a Lou Reed cover on this record. He must like covers. He does them well. And then you suggested Diane Renee. This just blew me away because if anyone, whoever's watching this, go click on Diane Renee's link or the link there to her website. This is just crazy. She was had a one-hit wonder way back when. I mean, this woman is like as old as my mom now, and it looks like my mom actually made the website for her. Okay? It's like a GeoCities website. It was sort of touching, though, in a weird way. I mean, the fact that she's still doing it and playing it to VA halls or VW halls. Wait, VA. Maybe she'd have to get paid more if she paid at VW halls. Anyway, she's lip syncing in that video. Check it out. Dylan, you're in Pennsylvania House College. I think you had midterms. Death from Above, 1979. This is one of the guys that went off to form Mastercraft. I liked, you always send me stuff that intrigues me, like Burial, and I can't get a grip on it. I sort of this is one of the things where the phenomena of when you actually, the appearance visually of a band will change your view of them. Sometimes you go to a song and you'll actually like it based on the visual aspect of it. In this case, it made me not like them as much because I saw them. I just didn't like them. They reminded me of, you guys ever watch Nickelodeon? If you watch Nickelodeon at night in Three's Company, there's, I think, the plumber named Schneider. It's like 2 Schneiders in the band, okay? So, but I kind of like their music a lot. I like the fact that he's just playing distorted bass all the time, and I wonder how boring that would be for a whole set. It's good though, that song was pretty good. Chalk Maze, okay, this was a winner with Chalk Maze. The guy you suggested was Daniel Johnston, and this was raw, honest. I can't believe I've never heard of this guy before. I mean, there's so much music out there, sometimes you just you can't see it all.